coming to tonight's session on effective ways to offer an extraordinary product or service. Let me give an introduction to our distinguished and eminent speaker of tonight, Mike Patterson. Mike has over 14 years of military experience in the Army. He has more than 30 years of experience in senior management positions, running heavy equipment workshops for construction, oil and gas, the military, the UN, oil and gas companies in Europe and the MENA regions. He has been a corporate trainer for 20 plus years and a business executive coach for 15. He has worked with entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, startups, national, international, and multinational billion dollar companies, helping with strategic and business planning, leading to them doubling their bottom lines in a few span of months. Since the early 2000s, Mike has spent over an hour a day studying some of the most successful people on the planet, improving and upgrading his knowledge and skills, transforming the lives and businesses of those he works with. A very warm welcome to you, Mike. Thrilled to have you here with us tonight. Handing the session over to you now.
Okay, thank you, Shama. So, would you like me to share my screen?
Sure, I'll just stop sharing. Right, you should be able to share your screen.
I should be able to share. Okay, that's good. Right. Share.
Yay, cool.
Just going to minimize the screen if I can. Can I do that? Yes. Get it out of the way.
So most companies, when they come up with a product or service, they do what's called the forward approach. What I'd like you to try from today is what's called the backward approach. So it's how to create an amazing customer owning product, service, or experience.
Interesting. That is supposed to move, right?
So most businesses create a product or service and try and write some sort of advertising to promote and sell it. The backward approach is the opposite way around. First, you need to sit down, write an advert for your product or service that would be absolutely compelling to your target customers. With that said, how many of you know the avatar of your ideal customer? Age, background, education, income, position. There's a guy called Harvey Mackay, ran an envelope company in the US, wrote a book called How to Swim with the Sharks Without Being Eaten Alive. He has a list called the Mackay 66 of 66 things he knows about his customers within 12 months of starting business with them. Right? So on your ad, what would really grab their attention? What would put you so far ahead of your competitors that they would cry, unfair competition? So this is what you want. It is called preemptiveness or blue ocean. What would be so amazing that it would literally make you famous? Sit down with a few of the best minds and hearts in your business and get creative. Think like a customer. You cannot afford to think like an engineer, a product manager, or whatever. People don't care about you. They don't care about your company. They don't care about your product. They don't care about your service. What they care about is the result they are going to get from using your product or service. In sales, it's called WIIFM. And all of us have it. What's in it for me? when the customer looks at anything you have to sell, to market, they are thinking, what's in it for me? I don't care about your features. What I want to know about is benefits. How do I benefit from using your product or service? And you can't tell them that, then you've got a problem. Step 2, figure out how you're going to create and consistently deliver whatever it is that you came up with, and how you're going to do that profitably. Profitably being the ultimate idea. Right? The world's best example of backwards thinking is Henry Ford and his Model T car. By the way, when he first came out with the Model T, he said you can have any color you like as long as it is black. So in the early 1900s, literally hundreds of small shops built automobiles by hand. Very expensive way to do it. Results, none of them could sell a car for less than $2,500. Remember, this is, what, 100 years ago? 100 plus years ago? Seeing the potential for the automobile to fundamentally transform society and the economy, in 1908, Ford used the backwards thinking approach to ask the question, what price would I have to be able to sell a car if I wanted to sell a lot of cars? And he came up with the price of $849. He set out to then design and engineer a car, and a revolutionary new production method, the assembly line, produced that car profitably for $849. And by the way, he got the idea for the assembly line from the butchers. It's how the butcher processed their meat. So he adapted that idea and brought it into the automobile. So even better, he paid employees a high enough wage they could afford to buy one of the cars they built. If memory serves me correct, he paid everybody $5 an hour. The average was $3. And he had equal opportunities. So if you were male, if you were female, if you had one arm, one leg, one eye, it doesn't matter. You got paid exactly the same as everybody else. So in manufacturing, in product development, it's what's called the golden rule. You can either have it fast, you can have it cheap, or you can have it good. You can't have all three. So in marketing and advertising, this is referred to as the unattainable triangle. Right? So if you start off at the top left, or top right rather, good service and cheap will not be fast. Fast service cheap won't be good. And fast service good won't be cheap. You can have any two of the three, but you can't have all three. The triangle is a maximum that high quality goods delivered quickly and efficiently to the customers will always come at a higher price, and vice versa. The cold, hard definition of the unattainable triangle: 2 out of 3. Never trust anyone who says they offer the best price, the fastest delivery time, and the best quality. It's not possible. There is no such thing. A business that understands a 2/3 compromise in marketing its products or services will be viewed vastly more credible and honest when they offer 2 out of 3 and make the customers know why it's a higher price. Offer someone amazing quality, offer it at speed, but don't be shy. If people see value in what you're selling, they'll pay. And if they don't, they won't. So don't be shy to charge a premium. Don't be shy to charge a higher price. Yes, we are more than the market average, but we're also a better quality. The average product lasts 5 years, ours lasts 15. So you should pay at least double, right? So speed, cost, quality, all three together, not possible, sorry. Speed, you achieve nothing without thorough planning. It's important to bear in mind that just generating ideas does not equal planning. Planning takes ideas and makes them work for a common goal. In manufacturing, the difficulty comes from balancing time, speed, and quality. So input, design, and protection. You've got to have a balance between the three of them. Input. This is where you start. What do clients want? And more importantly, why do they want it? How do they want it? Do they want it online? Do they want a physical product? Do they want it delivered? Do they want to come and get it? 101 things you've got to know about the client, what they want and how they want it. And where do they want it? At home, in the office, at the airport, at the grocery store, where? All these questions you've got to ask yourself before you sit down to manufacture or design a new product. A good design may require more time from the engineering team, but will eventually repay itself in many different ways. So a good design saves time by avoiding setbacks at later stages. Saves time and money through optimization of the construction. And it saves money through suitable material. So all of this has to come into the design of the product or service. Production. Each step in production takes time. The smaller the step, the quicker the time. The bigger the step, the more time it takes. So the first step, finding a supplier that can almost guarantee to give you the materials when you need it. Not everything is always readily available. Do you have the right equipment for doing it all, or do you outsource parts of it? So outsourcing or joint venturing. If you don't have the equipment, can you joint venture with someone who has? Can you tie up with someone to rent it, or to rent the warehouse, or to rent the equipment, or to rent the production team? So who can you trust? Cost. The success of your project is determined by its final cost. And the final cost depends a lot going back to your demographics. If you're marketing to people with a lot of money, cost is not a problem. Quality is what they're after. So where does price derive from? Parts, labor, infrastructure. Parts. The construction is usually made of different parts. Each of them has a production cost, which depends on the manufacturer and type of material used. Just as an aside, 80% of products out there are wrongly priced because they tend to blanket cost most of the materials or the time spent or whatever. Where you have fixed costs, they tend to put this on as a fixed. It should be a variable. That's how it's often seen. There's a reason for manufacturing to offer low prices, because it's low quality. Low prices usually means lower quality. Right. Labor. This applies to both your employees as well as the employees of your outsourcing partner. A common misconception is hiring people for little money and saving through that. When you hire for little money, I always say, if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. If a monkey can do the job you want them to do, then fine, hire a monkey. But if you want someone who's conscientious, who's going to look after the equipment, who's going to be faithful to the company, then you need to pay them more. There is no real value in choosing cheap labor force. Not at the end of the day. Infrastructure. Have a know-it-all supervisor who directs his workers towards the tools is an old-fashioned way. Nobody knows everything. So with your low-level employee, you've got a headless employee. Headless as in brain dead. Spends half the day wandering around the warehouse, wasting time and money. Your time, your money. Right? The thing is, don't lie with him. Right? Quality is, what is quality? Quality is whatever your customers say it is. You may think you have the best quality in the world. You may think it's absolutely wonderful. If your customer says it's rubbish, it's rubbish. Sorry. Ask your customers what they think. So know how. Can do versus won't do, and we're still with employees. Conduct is where an employee is more than capable of completing a task, is fully trained, and can demonstrate competence. However, they are simply choosing not to do so. This is the difference between capability and conduct. Capability, where an employee, despite training, never fully gets it. It doesn't matter how many times you train them, they keep making mistakes. They don't get it, right? The only way they're going to complete the task is with additional support, and that additional support has to be paid for. And the money's got to come from somewhere. Diligent employees may be hard to find, but every team should employ people who have an eye for detail. It needs extra effort that can only be asked of motivated employees. I hear a lot about motivation, and motivation is not external, it is internal. Motivation comes from people having goals that motivate them. Motivated. If people don't have a motive, they will not be motivated. A good way to do this is to show trust. Giving responsibility nurtures people's performance. Trust people to do something, monitor them, but watch what they're doing. Right? Communication. Everybody working on a product should be aware of the speed, the cost, the quality, and this comes down to communication. And the communication is, what are the customer's needs? Where do you focus? How far along the project are you? Who's on the team? And what are their responsibilities? Each person on the team should have various responsibilities. Right? If you want to keep the cost down but don't want to sacrifice quality, make sure your customers know that they'll have to wait a little bit longer. Remember, you can't get fast quality cheap. You can get cheap quality, but it's going to take time to get there. The quality of your product service determines 90% of your business success. That's 90% of your business success. Right? Quality is a key determinant of your growth and profitability. The key determinant is your reputation. Your reputation goes before you. The world's got really small. With the advent of the internet, everybody knows everything about everybody. Right? You can never lie to your customer. You can never promise to give them something, then not deliver. Every person in the company impacts positively or negatively on the company's reputation. Trust takes time to build, but you can lose it almost instantly. Your reputation in life as an individual. If you lie to someone once, it doesn't matter how many times you apologize. Ever after, whenever you talk to them, they will be wondering, are you lying to them again? So what is quality? As I said earlier, it is what your customers say it is. What you say it is doesn't matter. Your reputation for quality can account for up to 90% of your business success. So the key measure of business success, how often do your customers say, this is a great product? Every time a customer, a client, uses your product or service, they should turn around and say, my gosh, this is absolutely wonderful. This is an unbelievable product. So quality, what the customer says it is. Quality rating, what percentage of your time does your product or service do what you say it will do? The goal, obviously, is 100%. And when you sell a product, you say, or design a product, it will do this, 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 and this. How often does it do it? Product, what exactly do you sell? What your features are? Nobody cares. How do your customers, how do your clients benefit from what you sell? What does it do for the customer? Not what it is. Nobody cares. How does it change or improve the life of your customer? If you can't show them that, you are then what's called a commodity. As a commodity, it is down to price. It's like pig iron or a kilo of sugar or a kilo of rice. That's a commodity. But when your business stands out, price is not a problem. The challenge is customers nowadays are trying to force us all into being commodities. So they create the least amount of money. What does your customer consider value? What change in their life do they want, and what are they willing to pay for? They want to be easy. It wants to be easier, wealthier, happier, more, less, what? If you can find out what your customer considers value and give them that, they will pay. And if you can't, they won't. Achieve. What does your product service achieve, avoid, or preserve for your customer? All of these questions you need to ask before you get to manufacturing. Which of your products sells the most easily and are the most popular? So when you look at all your products, if any of you know Pareto's principle, in 1895, Alfredo Pareto was doing a study on wealth. What he discovered was that 20% of the population controlled 80% of the wealth. If you sell 10 products, 20%, 2 of them are being sold 80% of the time. 20% of your customers are spending 80% of their money with you, or give you 80% of your profits. By the way, 20% of your customers are also giving you 80% of your headaches. And when you find out who these are, you need to encourage them to go somewhere else. You profile the top 20%, clone them, and you basically double your profits. Right? 80-20 rule rules everything. 80% of the products you sell today will not be around in 5 years' time. So you need to be changing 15 to 20% of your products, upgrading them every year. What are the best compliments you have received from your happy customers? Document them, video them, put them on your websites, right? Superior. What do your products or services offer that makes them superior? The law of three. Either easier, faster, cheaper, price, terms, more convenient. Where do you excel? Where can you excel? I talked about quality rating earlier. There's also something called quality rating. Quality rating is if there are a number of, let's say there's 10 businesses selling exactly the same as you, where are you out of the 10? Are you 5 or 6? If you're 6, what is number 7 doing that you're not? It can take between 9 months and 1 year to move up one place. Right? Asking. So your customers are always asking, why should I buy from you as opposed to somebody else? You need to have 3 reasons. 80-20. Features, benefits account for 80% of customer satisfaction. What's that 20%? So if you've got 10 benefits of a product or a service that you tell people, we do this, 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 and this, and you get this, 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 and this, 2 of those 10 is the reason why 80% of your customers are buying your product, service. What are those 2? If your best products were perfect in the mind of your customers, how would they be different? 3 things. What are your core competencies in your business that enable you to produce excellent products and services? What is the one thing that you do and you do it to an excellent degree? What skills, knowledge will you need in the future to produce great products? You need to look at where you're going as a company, as a manufacturer, as a person, whatever, and say, what skills will we need in 3 years' time, in 5 years' time, in order to get to where we want to be? And you need to start training people on those skills today. Abandon. What product or service should you abandon or discontinue if you cannot achieve excellence in that area? As I said earlier, 20% needs to be changed yearly. Response. What 3 things could you do today to trigger the response? This is a great product. How can you wow your customers, your clients? What is one change, one improvement that you can implement right now, today, or if not today, tomorrow, so that people will say, this is a great product? Why did you pick that change? Don't pick it because it's easy. Pick it because it's going to make the biggest difference. How will you know that that change is successful? And when do you expect to complete this change? All right. This is the last slide, by the way. The market only pays superior rewards for excellent products and services. If you want to be rewarded above and beyond your competitors, you have to give them superior, excellent products and services. That's your goal, to be the best. The best hotel chain is the Ritz-Carlton, and their motto is ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. We have what's called default settings. If you do not, on purpose, set your goal to be the best at whatever you do, you end up being mediocre or average. If you do not set a goal to produce the best products and services, you produce something that's mediocre or average, in which case it's down to price. If you're in a relationship, if you don't set it as a goal to have a great relationship, you settle for average or mediocre. If you don't set it as a goal to be really, really good at what you do, then by default, you're average or mediocre. Right. So that took a little bit shorter than I expected. Anybody still there?
Oh yeah, we all are here. Thank you for delivering a brilliant session, Mike. Really great insights. And yes, audience, for the next part of the session, please go ahead and ask your questions in the Q&A window. Or if you would like, do come online and ask your questions. And I can unmute you and you can talk to Mike directly.
Oh dear, do I have to talk to people?
Only if you want to.
No problem.
So audience, please go ahead and ask your questions in the Q&A window. Let's make the best of 1 hour that we have with Mike. There is a product related question here, Mike. I'm not quite sure if you would be able to, check that. It's in the chat window. It is from Deepak Kumar. What is the average package of a product manager? I mean, from the years that you have trained and you have specialized, you've been talking to a lot of professionals, right? So what are the problems that you have, encountered that they have, and, generally the monetary benefits or average package of the PM, what would that be according to you?
It depends on the product. So what's the product? What is the product supposed to be doing?
Deepak, do you want to come online and ask your question? Give a little more clarity on that. Okay, and no response.
It depends on the product, depends on the service, right? As a trainer, let's say, I walk into a room of maybe 20 people, I have no idea what the skill levels are. I have no idea how they're going to receive me. Although after doing it for 20 years, 20 odd years, I know I can influence them. Okay.
So there's another question, Mike, from Sanjay.
Okay.
Go to market when the customer is on site or different country. How can we perform customer interviews?
Zoom. First of all, you need to do a demographic. I'm currently taking a course with a guy called Andy Harrington, and he said something really interesting. He said, marketing is an exclusion exercise. So one of the things before you get to your client, are they a qualified customer or client? And by the way, do you know the difference between a customer and a client? A customer is someone who's the one-time purchase for a commodity. A client is a long-term relationship with someone who is in your care, with whom you have got the best interest at heart. So you should look at all the people you do business with or buy your products and services as a client and not a customer. The mindset's totally different, right? So before you, I'll say, waste time talking to a potential customer, are they qualified? Do they have a need, a want for your product or service? Can they afford it? One of the questions that I gave, I've done training with real estate people, and a lot of people shop around in real estate. And the question I got them to ask was, if I can show you exactly what it is you want, when will you be able and willing to buy? Oh, I'm just looking around 6 months. Okay, then they would pass that lead on to somebody else. So I think before you get in front of a client, a customer, potential, qualify them. Send them through a process that qualifies them, and you need to do it automatically. Right? Remember what I said earlier, 20% of your clients or customers are giving you 80% of your headaches. You don't need them.
Sure. I hope that answers your question, Sanjay. And going to the next question here, this is from Anita. Hi, as a consultant, I do change projects for every 2 years. If I want to gain and master in my domain knowledge, be it banking or healthcare, manufacturing domain or any other domains, what are the best resources available? Or there are any domain level certifications available?
Okay. Not quite sure how I should. I have a thing about education. Okay. If you talk to people who've known me, who know me, they say I'm a walking encyclopedia. As Shama mentioned earlier, I spent the last 20 years training. Now, at the moment, I'm studying a guy called Jay Abraham. He's made $21.7 billion for his clients. He's the #1 marketing guy in the world, right? I'm probably spending about 3 hours a day studying him, right? I would think everybody on the call went to school, went to college or university, whatever. But studies show that 80% of people within 2 years of leaving the scholastic environment are doing something other than what they studied. The word education comes from the Greek or Latin word educo, which means to entertain a new idea. The scholastic system does not teach you anything about money, does not teach you about setting goals, doesn't teach you how to think. It teaches you how to memorize answers to pass exams, right? Especially in the US, that fluoride is known, apart from creating cancer and tumors, to actually reduce the IQ, to dumb people down. So what was happening in the schools was people are dumber, they're not passing the exams, the parents are getting upset, the students are getting upset, the teachers are getting a hard time. So they fix the problem by lowering the passing grade. If you want to study, find some of the best minds in the world. All successful people have written, created courses. They have said, I started from nothing, a lot of them from less than nothing, and went on to become ultra successful. Study these people, right? Find someone who's really good at what you want to do and study them. I spend on average a year studying a subject. I've got dozens of videos just on water, on food, right? I spent a year studying wealth. I spent a year studying time management. I spent a year studying leadership. This, with Jay Abraham, I think I'm going to have to put at least 2 years in to have any idea of what he's doing. The knowledge is out there. You just got to go and get it, right? I wouldn't go to school to get it because what they're teaching was theory, but the people who are successful in it have written about what works, not what's practical. About practical, not theory. Is that okay?
Yep, that should answer Anita's question. Please let us know if your question has been addressed, Anita, in the chat window. Meanwhile, we'll go to the next question by Leher. Let me just quickly read that. Okay. How will a customer react if halfway into product development, they are informed that the product is mediocre? And there's a second part to it. Moreover, how should they be communicated while ensuring a cordial relationship?
Be honest. As I said when I presented, don't lie. That's your reputation. If there's a problem, tell them. Don't wait for them to find out. What you're doing, you're actually showing them, excuse me, we've got a hiccup, not our fault, right? Don't lay the blame on somebody else. Due to unforeseen circumstances, this has happened. It will be delayed a bit. But also think, if you do that, can you compensate them in a way? Can you give them more of something? Can you give them an add-on that doesn't cost you something, but compensate in some way? Do not ever wait for them to find out, because then you've got a customer who's angry and upset, right? So the best thing you can do is own up and say, "Hello, Mr. Customer, my sincere apologies. Something just happened, and we're gonna be late. If it's gonna take a week, tell them it's gonna take 10 days. If it's gonna take a month, tell them it's gonna take 2, or 5 weeks, or 6 weeks, so that it gives you a wait time. It gives you a little bit of time. But if you can finish it in a month, you've told them 5 weeks, you're ahead of time. But if something happens, tell them immediately and compensate them somehow." Yeah.
Yes. So Leher, let us know if that answers your question. And yes, the answer is thanks, and it did answer the question, right? So moving on to the next question. This is from Rohit Nagpal. Quality is important, but there is an ROI to it. Do we only provide quality which is better than the competitors? Since quality requires resources and the startups have extremely limited resources, where do we stop? Can you please give an example how a startup scaled up keeping the resources and quality in mind?
Okay. That starts to a certain degree with demographics. Who is your ideal customer, client, right? And what do they consider quality? Most of us, even myself to a certain degree, say, okay, this is my product, this is how much I'm going to charge. Now, who needs to be making how much to buy that? When you work backwards and say, okay, I'm actually in the middle of rebranding myself because of this course I'm taking with Andy Harrington. I'm saying, okay, instead of my customers making, say, $250,000 a year, and my consulting fee is 1% of that per session, I am saying, okay, my ideal customer, my ideal client, sorry, makes above $1 million a year. $1 million and above. Below that, I don't want to talk to them. Right? So if I keep the same percentage, that a session with me is 1% of their income, then I can virtually quadruple. I can go from 250 to $1 million. I can quadruple the charge. It's the same quality, right? If you're going to go for superior quality, who wants that superior quality? And if they recognize the value of the superior quality, they will pay. If they want it quick, they will pay more, right? But you can have, as I said earlier, any two of the three. You can have superior quality fast, it won't be cheap. You can have it superior quality cheap, it won't be fast. You've got to make a balance. And the best way to get the bounce is ask your customer. We're making this from the highest quality. Is having the highest quality really important to you? Yeah, makes sense?
I'm sure. Rohit, please let us know if your question has been answered in the comment section. And in view of the time constraints, Mike, I will take this one last question. I hope you have the time for it.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. So this is from Sanjay. For our market segment niche, can we perform market intelligence or market research using machine learning model, data mining from various online reports available pertaining to our new competitor products?
Okay, I'm not the most IT conservative bloke on the planet, so it's a little beyond me. What you can do and what has been done by people is to offer a product for sale before they go into production, just to see what the result is. And they can say, oh, sold out, we'll, have it later. I think it was one of the big companies, a shoe company, that they started selling shoes online, but whenever someone bought, someone would run down from their flat to the shoe shop downstairs, buy the shoes, and then send them off. But now they're a huge company. If you look at Jack Ma with Alibaba, he said there was like 7 or 8 of them. When it wasn't taking off, they would buy and sell each other's stuff. They would bring something into the office and sell it between them. And that's the way they started Alibaba, how they got off the ground. So there's lots of different ways you can do it. Don't just stick to one. AI is very clever. If you know exactly what it is you're looking for and you have access to AI, then sure, use it. But don't just use AI. Talk to other people around. Right? Don't just depend on AI, on machine learning. Ask physical people, because it's physical people who will be using it. Yeah?
Yes, thank you for that. And Sanjay, I hope that answers your question. And in view of the time constraints, we have to end the Q&A here. Thanks for the participation, audience. For any further questions, you can connect with Mike over LinkedIn or other mediums. And please scan the QR code to get an exclusive 30-minute session with industry practitioners like Mike and clear all your doubts on transitioning to a product manager role. Now, coming to the final part of the session, we need your help, Mike, here. So like I announced, we'll be rewarding the attendees with a free digital course. And for that, you will have to pick a winner for us. So let us know the best asked question according to you, and then we will share the reward with them.
You expect me to remember all those questions?
You can see them in the Q&A window, Mike.
In the Q&A?
Right. There are 2 questions there, and there are a few questions in the chat window.
Oh, there's no open questions in the Q&A. Open. Answered.
In the answered section, there are 2, but the others we took from the chat window.
So let me open up the chat window as well and see. Wow, that's for everything.
All right, audience, while Mike helps us pick a winner, please go ahead and share your feedback about the webinar with us on the link in the chat window. Let us know your experience and learnings from the webinars hosted by the Institute. It'll help us plan and deliver many such insightful webinars in the future. So please go ahead and take your time and give your feedback in the in the chat window. Do we have a winner, Mike?
I'm reading.
Take your time, no worries.
I think we've still got 5 minutes, yes?
Are you seeing the chat window too?
I got both open.
Okay, great.
Oh no, Rohit. Is quality important? Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Rohit, is quality important?
Okay,
But there's an ROI involved, so.
right. All right, congratulations, Rohit, on winning the free digital course. We will get in touch with you shortly with the reward.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? Please go ahead, audience. We still have 5 more minutes left. And if you have any questions for Mike, we can take another question. We have enjoyed having you with us, Mike. It's been a complete pleasure. Please accept the certificate of appreciation from the Institute. So if you scan the QR code on the certificate, it will take you to a dedicated Hall of Fame page that we have created for you, a small gesture, and it will hold the recording of this video. Please share it within your network and we'll share the recording on our YouTube channel.
You're getting technical. I have no idea what to do with the QR code. I'm actually projecting this onto my television, so my laptop's got its head down.
All right, no worries. We are grateful for the time and effort you took to share your thoughts and amazing insights drawn from the experience in the industry, Mike. I'm certain that our audience will definitely benefit from the methods you suggested and get ahead in their career.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you once again for joining us.
Okay, thanks.
And audience, thank you for joining in. It was great interacting with you all. Do not forget to register for the webinar tomorrow and please fill out the feedback forms. With that note, I end tonight's session. Happy learning and stay skilled. Have a great night.